Hey guys, welcome back to another Death Stranding video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Lowroar's new music video titled Give Me an Answer. If you haven't checked out the video yourself, I highly recommend it. You can do so right now before I start talking or after the video, whichever you prefer. Now before I dive into this theory, I want to provide some context so everyone really understands what I'm talking about when I do explain the theory and we're all on the same page. There's a lot of speculation going around about a multiplayer feature in Death Stranding. Of course, this would not be done the conventional way, as Kojima wants to emphasize the rope over the stick in gameplay. It would appear that strands play a very important role in the game itself, so it's possible that if there is a multiplayer feature, the way the player would go about doing it is through these strands. Let's say, for example, you enter another player's world, or they enter yours, and you would like to establish a connection with this player so you don't lose them. The theory is that you could potentially strand to this character or this player and create a permanent connection with them. If this connection ever got severed for whatever reason, you could attempt to re-establish that connection or simply strand to a new player. The number of connections you could have would be limited, as connecting with everybody on the player base would be not only really unrealistic, but extremely overpowered if it does affect gameplay. There is also another very good theory about the different locations we could be seeing in Death Stranding. If you haven't seen Yong Ya's parallel but opposite video, I highly recommend checking that out as well, as it will provide some good context to what I'm about to say later on in this video. If you don't want to watch his whole video, the very basis of his theory is that there are two different realms or worlds in Death Stranding. The world of the dead, which Norman Reedus resides in, and the world of the living, which Guillermo del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen reside in. A good piece of evidence to support this theory is the baby in the second trailer, which is dead, looks similar to Norman Reedus with the crosshatch on the stomach. I'll go more into detail about the babies and the multiplayer stuff later in a different video, but I needed to explain that in order for my theory on Lowroar's music video to make sense. Speaking of which, let's talk about that music video. It starts out with 4 people going to a rather sketchy looking hotel. The driver waits outside while the other 3 go into the room on the second story. Once inside the room, they draw from these short black straws. The guy who picks the longest straw heads to the bathroom first. Something I want to point out right away is this little hole on the tile in the shower. It might not seem like much, but if you remember PT, there was a little hole in the wall of the hallway that allowed you to peek into the bathroom. If you went into the bathroom, this hole would be located directly above the bathtub in the shower. So this guy looks in the shower and finds a rather odd-looking black device with a bunch of cords coming out of it. Those cords immediately look familiar to me, and I would hope they look familiar to you as well. He proceeds to step into the shower, and after doing so, starts to get covered in this black liquid that looks very similar to the black liquid seen in the first Death Stranding trailer. It has that same shiny, glossy look. It also seems to have the same viscosity, where it is thick enough to get clumpy, but also thin enough to flow like a proper fluid. After a couple seconds, the woman gets up and enters the bathroom, only to find that the man in there a second ago has disappeared. The black device then appears on the toilet seat, the woman enters the shower, and she begins to get covered in the same black liquid. Noticeably, she has less of it than the first guy did, which I think is an important detail. And of course, the one dude outside the room is all by himself now and getting rather frustrated. He gets up, starts slamming his hand on the door, and just seems overall really angry for some reason. At first, I thought he was mad because his friends were disappearing, but then I showed this video to Trent and he provided some different perspective. He said that the video to him looked almost as if these people were meeting up to take drugs in this hotel room. The drug of choice, of course, in this situation being the black liquid. Perhaps this man is angry because he didn't get any, or there wasn't enough left over for him to use. Which raises an interesting question. What is the black liquid for? What does it do, and why would people want to quote-unquote take it? This gave birth to an idea that connects all of the world of the dead, world of the living, and multiplayer theories together. Think of the music video like this. Try to imagine that you are playing Death Stranding with 3 other people, and those 3 people die. Once arriving in this world of the dead, the 3 players would be greeted by an AI character. This character would sort of watch over this plane of existence. Think of him as an anti-Grim Reaper, kind of. He would wait for players to die and then find ways to bring them back to the world of the living. Of course, he can't just snap his fingers and send them back, but think about it like this. The driver in the music video could represent this character in the game, judging by the fact that he knows exactly where to take the 3 people, and he sits out at his car, acting completely indifferent, almost like he's done this many times before and knows exactly what's going on. So this character would guide the 3 players to a location in this world where they can potentially be revived. But maybe you don't have enough strands to bring them all back, or if the black liquid is an actual resource in the game, maybe it is used as some kind of fuel or power that allows you to do certain things you would not be able to do otherwise, such as bring people back from the world of the dead. In that case, maybe there's not enough black liquid to bring back all 3 players. The guy who enters the bathroom first gets the most black liquid and disappears the quickest, which means he is revived first. The woman who follows afterwards gets significantly less black liquid, probably because the player reviving them is running out of liquid to use, and she takes longer to disappear, which means she gets revived second. And the third guy, unfortunately, for whatever reason, cannot be brought back, which would naturally leave him rather pissed off and upset. He has no way for someone to pull him out of the world, so now he must survive there and find his own way back. Unless another player finds himself in the world of the dead and they can cooperate to find a way out together. Or perhaps another player in the world of the living finds a way to strand to him and pull him out. Another detail worth noting is how in both Death Stranding's first trailer and this music video, both of which have performances by Low Roar, might I add, the environment seen in the video is a rather desolate and lonely place, with these 4 people, and this one girl in the background, who I could also speculate on if I really wanted to, are the only ones seen in this environment, or this world. Very similar to how Norman and the 5 monolithic figures are the only ones seen in the environment or world of the first trailer. And yes, I do remember the baby, but keep in mind it disappears pretty early on in the trailer, which again I will be talking about in a different video. My point is, if this trailer represents the world of the dead, and there's very few people inhabiting it, it makes sense that Low Roar's new music video would also represent the world of the dead, given all of the evidence I provided, along with the fact that they are the only ones seen in this environment. Also, the name of the song, Give Me an Answer, is kind of funny because it speaks out to all the people speculating about Death Stranding. Everything is confusing, nothing really makes sense, and we just want Kojima to give us an answer. And of course, I can't end this without talking about the numbers on the doors at the end of this song. You'll notice that from left to right the numbers go 0, 20, 3, and 4. At least I think that's a 3, it's kind of blurred out and a little hard to see, but I'm pretty sure it's a 3. Also notice how the doors are color-coded. The 0 and 4 are blue, whereas the 20 and the 3 are red. I tried putting these numbers into Google in a variation of different combinations. I tried 0 space 20, which means I put a space in between the 2 numbers, obviously. I tried 3 space 20, 4 space 3, 20 space 0, a bunch of different combinations, and I found some different results. If you put in 0 space 20, you'll find a grade of motor oil, which, of course, the references to oil in this game don't ever stop. But if you type in 3 space 20, you will actually find Bible verses. These verses don't seem to have any real connection or relation to the theme of Death Stranding. However, if you do change out the 3 with an 8, and then try these number combinations again, you will find more Bible verses, which unfortunately don't seem to have any real relation to the game as well, but the fact that the Bible is related to these numbers could give us some hints towards something. The only other thing I can think of that might give us a hint is the license plate number on the back of the car. I don't know if this is potentially a cipher or an anagram, or if the letters are mixed up and they make a different word. I don't know, maybe it's nothing at all. But judging by the fact that Low Roar is definitely connected to Kojima and Death Stranding, not only because of their performance of I'll Keep Coming during the first trailer, but supposedly they also performed Easy Way Out for the second trailer, even though I can't find in the second trailer where that song appears. There's also this video we just looked at today with the black liquid and the 3 characters going into the hotel. But let's not forget about E3. We already know about Jordan and the flags on the jacket, Neil Blomkamp and Kojima all being friends with each other, but directly after Neil's conversation at E3, none other than Low Roar themselves came out to perform I'll Keep Coming and Easy Way Out. If that doesn't put the nail in the coffin for you, I don't know what does. So I encourage all of you to do your own research and come back in the comments, let me know what you find and tell me what you think. Oh, and by the way, to all the lovely viewers on my last video who called me out for copying Python Selken HD, I actually didn't know who he was until a few days after I posted my last Death Stranding video. I saw his analysis of Oat Studios and was going to give him credit in this video for having a much more detailed explanation than mine. And the last time I checked, it wasn't considered stealing if 2 people notice the same thing and talk about the same thing. But since you were all so eager to label me as a content thief because none of you have an ounce of common sense in your brain, I think I'll just keep stealing from him. That ought to make you happy.